This is ContactTalkRadio.com. Consciousness in action. And you are taking action into your consciousness by tuning into Contact Talk Radio.
And on TuneIn.com, Ping.fm, and UpSnap Mobile.
Contact Talk Radio.
Throughout the nation and around the globe, from his heart to yours, it's Dearjames Live on the radio, here on the Contact Talk Radio Network, bringing you intuitive insight, answers, and advice to your life questions.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Dearjames Live on the radio, here on the Contact Talk Radio Network. Today is Express Yourself. Tell it like it is, and then hear what Dearjames has to say. And as I've said many times before, this is my favorite show because it's all about you. It's about what's going on in your life, what are your challenges or your questions or your indecisiveness, whatever's going on in your life, and then you hear what the universe has to say. They are intuitive readings for you. They are free while they're live during the show. And of course, the first two callers receive a complimentary 30-minute intuitive reading. It's a private reading that we will do in the following week. So very good opportunity for advice, intuitive insight, and answers to your life questions. And that's what Dearjames is all about. I want to quickly go into some of the things that are taking place. Mercury has been retrograde since about June 7th, I believe. And what fun has it been? It always affects communication, equipment, computers, phones, electronics, internet waves, all these different things, all these different modalities and mediums. And it's also a point of repeats, redos, where you look at what's been going on and you revisit things that you might have thought you were done with, come back. Cars break down, and in my instance, I've had fun with my car the last couple of weeks, and very interesting where I thought everything was taken care of, and had to take it back 2 and 3 times. So it's very funny, but it's redos, it's do-overs, if you will, and it's important. Mercury retrograde, as I say, gets a bad rap, and because of these things, because it creates frustrating moments for us and challenging moments for us. However, it is an opportunity to slow down and gear down, as I say. Those are important elements so that when you look at what's going on, you revisit what you may have missed. You kind of have the opportunity to get it right the second or third time around. And that's the beauty and the benefit of a Mercury retrograde. And of course, its impacts will be dependent upon the sign that it's in. So, for full disclosure, I am not an astrologer. However, I am a Virgo with a Gemini rising, and so I get a double. Both of those signs are ruled by Mercury, and so I kind of get a double whammy of Mercury retrograde. So it's my real opportunity to slow down and gear down and see what's going on and revisit things and get them right. So for all of you that are having fun out there with Mercury retrograde, slow down, gear down, and you'll get it right. Again, today's show is Express Yourself, tell it like it is, and then hear what Dearjames has to say. Taking your calls live. The number to call in is 877-230-3062. 877-230-3062. I also, a few weeks back, had one of my amazing mentors and friends, and I call her my guru, Sheila Haidt. And she is leading a Scottish Highlands and Islands Odyssey, and that will be from October 3rd through the 11th, and some amazing destinations in Scotland. And she is halfway full. So she is at 10 participants and room for approximately 5 to 10 more. And the deadline has been extended for that, so to register and so forth. So it's been extended to July 15th. It's going to be an amazing experience. I'm going to be there along with some of my fellow light travelers who I adore. So it's going to be a very exciting odyssey and journey. So I'm very, very, very excited about that. So without further ado, and I'm going to come back to some of the other things, I'd like to go to my first caller, Jeanette. Hello, Jeanette. Hello, Jeanette. Jeanette, are you there?
The sound down.
There you are.
Hi.
Hi,
I'm here.
welcome, Jeanette.
I'm trying to figure out how to turn the sound down, but it's not. I don't know where to find it.
Oh, okay. Well, and you're calling in from Louisiana.
Yes.
I love it. I love your state. So what's
well,
happening?
I don't. No, I really don't want to live here. I've been living here for 4 years, and I want to leave and go back to Texas, but it's not happening, and I'm a mess emotionally, physically, everything, and I want it to stop.
You want it to stop. Well, and it's probably amplified right now, yes?
Yes.
Yes, that's good old Mercury and retrograde coming at you, full frontal, so to speak. So, well, let's see. What I'm getting, okay, so straight off what I'm getting is that you're doing a lot of second guessing on yourself, and you're kind of boxing yourself in. They show me that you've got 1 foot out the door, and then you take 3 steps back. That you think you have a plan, and then you kind of start second guessing it. You start tearing it apart before you've executed it. Do you see that?
Well, I have a plan, but I'm in a box because of financial issues. If I weren't in these financial problems, I could go. The only thing that's stopping me is money.
Well, but see, okay. But that's what I'm getting at is when you look at these things, you're putting and I understand what you're saying, that in a practical sense, you're feeling limited. You're saying I don't have the resources and so forth, and thereby I'm boxed in. I'm stuck. What the universe is saying to you is take that limitation off or remove it, because it's a mental one. Even though it's a, how do I say this? Even though, let's say you only have $10 in your bank account. You perceive that to be a limiting aspect. I only have $10. But the universe is saying, but you have a plan. And if you just start walking towards that plan, if you start putting all of the pieces into motion, if you start packing up, if you start doing all these things, then it comes about. Because you have to be willing to marry the action with the desire. If we have a desire and we just sit back and wait because we say, well, I don't have the right circumstances, it won't come. You'll get more waiting. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes, I understand what you're saying, but I'm a very logical person, and there's no way to take those steps out there without financial backing. And that's supposed to be coming in the very near future and has been for years, but hasn't come yet.
Right, and I'm going to say to you again, and they're being very, firm about this, is the way I would put it. This is about you. In order for what you want to materialize, you have to have faith and trust, and you have to walk the talk. I know that you think that that you can't do these things, but they're saying to you, no, it's the exact opposite, because sometimes when it costs you nothing to phone up friends and say, I'm looking to do this and I want to go here, or email them and say, do you know anybody that? And when you start putting that energy and that motion out, it starts coming back to you. And they say, oh, well, you know what? And so sometimes what I'm getting at is sometimes you realize and most times, I'd say 9.99% of the times, we realize our goals in a way that wasn't the way we saw it happening. We always think, well, in order for me to do X, I have to have A, B, and C first. And the universe doesn't work that way. They say, That's you going in a direct line. But if you'll start going, okay, well, wait a minute. maybe I have to get creative with myself and I have to walk through the fire. And they're kind of showing me that you're this for you is walking through the fire, because you don't like to do things unless you can see them, touch them, and feel them. They're saying that you're very pragmatic. You're very cautious, and you don't make a move if you can't see it first. And they want you to undo that trait, because you're really blocking yourself. You're really kind of pigeonholing yourself in. And they're saying that you have a lot of resources that you're looking past. And resources don't necessarily mean financial in the way that you see it, i.e. dollars in a bank account. They could come to you in other ways, or assistance, or that resources that move you to where you want to go or where you want to be. Is that making sense?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
And you're like, and I don't like it.
Well, I'm hearing you, but it's like that's not practical.
Well,
I can take certain steps, but in the end, there's no way to do it without certain things happening first.
Okay, but that's what I'm getting at is you're placing, they're showing me that you're placing all of these hurdles. And are you on a ranch or something, horses and things like that? They're kind of showing me, do you have anything affiliation with that?
No.
All right, I'm going to come back on that one because they're showing me this. Okay. So it's like betting on the horses. That's what they were trying to get me to see. You know, when the opening races are there, the horses sit within the gates, and you can see them sometimes where their chests and everything are bumping the front gates because they're wanting to get out of the gate and run the track. That's what they instinctively know. And they're saying to me, this is her. She is that thoroughbred that's bumping the gates, wanting to get out and run the track, i.e. live your life. But you keep feeling like you're penned in, and it's causing you great frustration. It's causing you anxiety, because when those horses, if they don't let the gate open, the horses get stressed, because what they know is to run the track. They know that this is the precursor to running the track, to winning the race, if you will. So Jeanette, what you need to do, you're going to have to trust this. You're going to have to move yourself forward. There's an incredible book by Wallace D. Wattles. And it's the science of being well. It's a trilogy. The science of being well, the science of being rich, and the science of, it'll come to me, I can't remember the third one. In that book, he talks about doing great things in small ways so that you move yourself from where you are to the place that you want to be, i.e. this living great. Take a look. It's on my website. It's under it's under tools, and look at that book and read that, because it's exactly what's happening with you. You're meant to take these small steps, do these great things in small ways that move you, propel you to where you want to be. And the minute you start realizing, oh, I can take this step, I can take this step, and all these things are, what I'm talking about, all these things are quote unquote free, monetarily free. They just require you to start putting the energy out there. Because what the energy that you're putting out right now is frustration and anxiety, because you're boxed in and you're waiting for something to happen, and it keeps not happening. But it's because that's where you're locked. That's what you're thinking about. You're focused on the lack of the situation. And when you do that, you get more lack. if you start turning that around and seeing yourself, visualizing yourself where you want to be, when you start taking the small steps of interacting with people and saying, hey, I'm looking to do you have or do you know? And people will start responding with you, oh, well, yeah, you know what, you could do, or you could stay here, or you could, I could help you do this. You know what, I'm going to be, or my friend's doing that. Oh, maybe you guys could do this together. It starts coming about. It comes about in a way that wasn't the way you saw it right now. It's really about trust. That's what they keep saying to me over and over and over again for you, Jeanette, is it's about trust. You have to trust that they're going to get you where you want to go, just not in the way you thought you'd get there. That's really what they're saying. And if you'll let go of the anxiety and the bumping of the gate, because what happens, when you keep bumping the gate and bumping the gate and bumping the gate, the horse is getting worn down. It's getting too much anxiety because it's not being released.
Yeah, I'm on anxiety medication.
Right. See this? Okay. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
They're showing you that what you're doing is causing yourself to become sick. That's what would happen to a horse. And I'm using this analogy because they've given it to me. So you see that when someone like yourself, who's and I mean this in a good way, when you're a very high-strung person in a good way, you're efficient, you're methodical, you're an overachiever in those regards. You're a doer. Boom, 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 boom. But when that energy is pressed up against a formidable block, it starts wearing down your soul, your energy, your body. It depletes you. And it makes you sick.
I've already done that. I've been going through this for 4 to 6 years. I'm already there.
Right. So, surrender and trust. Step back from this. Visualize yourself as this horse in the gate that's wanting to run the track. And see yourself kind of calmly stepping back from bumping the gate. And then you'll see and start saying, okay, what are the other ways by which I can run this track? Or that I can win this race? What are the joys that I get from this? And when you start focusing, when you stop focusing on the lack and the frustration and the bumping of the gates and it's not happening and it's all falling apart and I'm anxiety ridden and I'm spiraling in a circle. When you move yourself away from that and you start looking at, okay, what are the other opportunities or the abundances? Life is abundant. The universe will give you what you want. But you have to be willing to listen sometimes to see, I'm hitting a roadblock here. Why am I hitting that roadblock? Why? And be willing to hear what they say. Well, you're hitting this roadblock because you're meant to do X, Y, and Z. This is a do-over. There's a do-over here. So you're meant to look at something more clearly. I'm going to talk to you more about this in our 30-minute private reading, but I want you to really look at, I'm using my air fingers, quote unquote, your plan, because they're saying to me there's flies in the ointment. There's something wrong with your plan that's going to actually do more harm to you, and that's why it's not happening.
Well, okay.
So take a look. Well, and what I'm getting, I don't know if there's, look at agreements, money, things, what have you agreed to or what are you looking for? What are these things? Look at all of that in this terms of what's been owed you and all this stuff. Look at that again, because Mercury is retrograde. It's about agreements. It's about, commitments and promises and all these things. take a look at that with fresh eyes, with calm, fresh eyes, and see what you've been missing. See why they haven't let it come to fruition. I'm getting that you'll see it, that you'll have an aha moment. You'll be like, oh. And once you see the oh part, the rest will then fall in, because you're going to recalibrate your plan. You're going to readdress what your plan really is. They're actually protecting you, is what I'm getting. So it doesn't feel like it. I understand that, but what they're saying to me is they're protecting you. So take a look at that, and then when we do our private reading, we'll go more into that. But in the meantime, look at those things and just kind of calmly pull yourself back and start looking at this as an opportunity to do it over and then, quote unquote, get it right.
Okay, well, you're hitting home.
Yeah, that's what's going on. That's what's going on. So Cameron's going to take your information for me so I can follow up with your phone and email, and then I'll reach out to you after the show and we'll set up your private reading.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Jeanette, for calling in. Have a beautiful day. Okay, everyone. So today is Express Yourself. Tell it like it is, and then hear what Dear James has to say. That was Jeanette from Louisiana calling in. We are going to go to a quick commercial break, and we'll be back right after this message.
The desire to be more consciously enlightened is innate. Do you feel there's more to life? If so, find the resource that's right for you by going to dearjames.com/resources. You are the reality you create. Make it a great one. When you ask a question, the universe hears you. And in a multitude of ways, they communicate to you the intuitive insight, answers, and advice you seek. Ask Dear James a question and experience the magic of the universe. Visit dearjames.com and click Ask.
Available for private, individual, group, and corporate consultations, Dear James will provide you with the intuitive insight, answers, and advice to your life questions. Schedule your consultation by going to www.dearjames.com and click on Consultation.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Dear James Live on the radio, here on the Contact Talk Radio Network. Today is Tell It Like It Is, and then hear what Dear James has to say. It's all about expressing yourself. And the previous caller, which Jeanette from Louisiana talking about, and she's Mercury in retrograde is playing a big role right now. It's amplifying everything. And it brings me to a point that I wanted to talk about as we take your calls live. So call in live. It's 877-230-3062. As I say, the call is free. The intuitive insight, answers, and advice is priceless. And you can also submit your questions in writing, if you will, to dearjames.com. And you click on Ask, and you can submit them there. And they will appear on the advice column on both dearjames.com and on my Facebook page, facebook.com/DearJamesLLC. And I want to talk about, before I take my next caller, I want to talk to you about, your perceptions and looking at life through the rearview mirror. We often look backwards, and we think we're looking forwards, but we're looking backwards. And Mercury retrograde is this time where when you do look backwards, you want to look backwards with the intent of finding out what the real opportunity is. What have I missed? What did I not see? Those types of things, because those are very important opportunities, and our perceptions color everything. Our perception of something makes it our reality. It creates our reality. So you want to be abundantly aware of how you perceive things. And if you're looking in the rearview mirror, stop. There is a massive, huge window, this screen, this windshield in front of you, if I use a car analogy. Why would you ever want to look in a small, tiny mirror instead of the big, open windshield in front of you? Look forward. Look to see these things and clear the way, because the rearview mirror is only meant to assist you when you're backing up. And that's kind of like Mercury retrograde. When we're redoing or re-looking at things, use the rearview mirror. But 90% of the other time, you're meant to look through this huge windscreen or windshield in front of you to see life and see what's there and what opportunities lie, so that you come into that abundantly conscious and present and seeing the whole picture. So we're going to go to my next caller, Jasmine from New York. Hello, Jasmine. How are you?
Hi, James. How are you? Thank you for taking my call.
I'm happy to take your call. How are you doing?
Good. We spoke a little bit a little while ago.
I was wondering if this was you. I saw this and I said, is this Jasmine?
Yes. How you doing?
Going on? I'm good. What's happening, Jasmine?
I'm a little bit confused because the last time we spoke, you said something about my love relationship that I would like to ask more question about it.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Do you have a specific question, or do you want me to go into...
Yeah, go in.
Go in.
Uh-huh.
Well, as I recall, this was not the relationship for you. Is that correct?
Well, at the moment you said that I was in love with the wrong guy, but I wasn't with anyone. Now I have somebody new, so I don't know. I'm a little bit confused.
Oh, got it. Well, yes, I think when we talked about that was about the fact that, and I would still say, you saw how I opened up, this was the guy not for you. So the gentleman that you weren't with, but you had been with, and that was still playing a role in your life, because I see this guy that he keeps popping up. He keeps popping up in random places in your life. Is that true? The previous guy, yeah.
Well, it's kind of weird because the new one that I'm seeing right now, he's from the past too. So,
well, let me discern this then. So they're saying to me, the old guy's the old guy, the new guy is the new guy. You're okay with the new guy. It's the old guy that was problematic, that he was the one that would keep popping up and causing you anxiety and unrest. That he was, I get that he was not a good guy. He's not a good guy. He's a bit, he's controlling. He's verbally, emotionally abusive, these types of things. And that was the guy that you were meant to, stay away from, disconnect from, if you will, and let him go on his way.
So this new guy that is from the past, is there anything that I need to know, or because something more?
I'm so glad you asked. And not in a bad way, Jasmine. What they were also saying to me was, because, and interestingly enough, Mercury retrograde, and here's someone from your past reappearing.
Right.
Here's someone that you're looking in the rearview mirror instead of looking forward, which what they're saying to me is there's a lesson for the two of you. There's a lesson that you two didn't finish or didn't complete or didn't, You're doing a do-over. And the do-overs can be that you get it right, whatever that may be. You know, you guys have some unfinished business, like emotional unfinished business is what I'm getting. Mm-hmm. And thereby you're doing this do-over. You've kind of, you know, it's interesting. You've kind of talked yourself into this redo. Yes?
Well, I was the one who initiated, yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But you talked yourself into it.
Yes.
Okay. You kind of, you know, it's funny. They're showing me like you kind of went through your Rolodex and you went, okay, I could probably make this work. And
but that's the reason of my question. Is it something that I'm creating that I want it to work, or is something that is supposed to happen? You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to force.
Right.
So, yes, you know, that's where I get confused. Like, the part that you have a role in your life, right, and you have to play it, or the part that you have to just sit down and let it happen. But how? You know what I mean? That's where I'm confused.
Right. Well, in a certain way, you've answered your own question, because when you realize that your intentions, you always have to look at what your intentions were. And your intentions were to have somebody. Your intentions were to, I can make this one work. You talked yourself into it. So when you do that, you're doing it, and especially because it's Mercury retrograde, it's a do-over time. You're looking at, you didn't finish the lesson, so you want to learn it again. And when, what I get is that you kind of looked and you went, well, this one wasn't so bad. I mean, he was kind of like the best out of the, what do we call it? And I don't mean this in a bad way, but like, the lesser of two evils. It's like, okay, he's fine. You did it with this intention of having someone, and you talked yourself into this. You're somewhat in a place where you're saying, better to have something than nothing at all. Better to be with someone than alone. And you have to let go of that. That's kind of what the lesson is here, is that you're going to learn, no, it's okay to be alone. In fact, it's actually better sometimes, because I have a very dear friend, and he has a saying that says, better to be alone than with the wrong person.
So you're saying he's wrong for me?
What I'm saying to you is, you already knew that, but you weren't done learning the lesson. You already knew, looking backwards, looking in the rearview mirror, that he wasn't the right guy for you. If he were, you'd still be together.
No, well, correct me if I'm wrong. No, okay. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
When I let him go, I was trying to keep safety, and safety didn't work for me. And that was the old guy.
Right.
So now I'm in a different place that I don't try to plan and make sure that I'm safe. I'm more like free, like, okay, whatever happens. And that's how I see this relationship.
Right. However,
am I? Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, but what you just said is what I told you were doing. You were looking to be with someone, and to be with someone means to you to be secure. Mm-hmm. You think you're being free and easy about it. You think you're being, it's okay, it's different, it's not the same, but you're repeating a pattern, Mercury retrograde, you're repeating a pattern because you didn't learn the lesson. And the lesson is, you've got to learn how to be with you, that you are enough. Mm-hmm. And once you get that, you won't look in the rearview mirror. You'll be looking forward out of that big windshield that's, in a car when you're driving, that huge, view that you get, because you'll naturally, Jasmine, be a different person. You're going to be a more empowered, confident, calm person. that says, oh, I am okay just as I am. Someone that comes into my life won't complete me. They'll walk beside me. I'll already be complete. You see what I mean? And the thing that you need to realize is you had this man in your life at the same time Mr. Security, as you're calling him, the other guy, was in your life. That in and of itself tells you not the right guy. Because you don't want the guy that was willing to be there when there was another guy there too.
Oh, no, that didn't happen.
No, but you get what I'm saying. Like,
yes.
when there's, you want the guy that would say to you, hey, you know what, Jasmine? If and when you're free and clear, hit me up. But that's not where you were. You were kind of bouncing and willing to entertain. Which one's going to complete me? Which one's going to make me feel like I'm good to go? And the ultimate answer is neither of them. No one's really going to no one's going to do that for you. You have to do that. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
We get so caught up in thinking that we need someone else to complete us, to make us whole, that we forget that person is already there.
Right.
It's ourselves. You know, that's the only person that's ever going to be with you your entire life. You. So in love relationships and in wanting to be loved and give love and all of that and to experience that and everything, we always have to, if we can't do it with ourselves, if we can't do it joyfully and confidently and with ourselves, then we're always looking for our real intention in finding someone is to be the things that we can't be to ourselves. And then when they fail us, we look at them and we say, oh, you weren't it. You didn't meet up. You didn't cut the mustard. You didn't make it. And that's where what happens becomes cyclical. Then you go to the next one. You're not alone, and you're not alone. And I applaud the fact that you have the courage to call in. I love you for that because because you're showing that you want to get it right, and that's what a Mercury retrograde time frame is. It's about seeing the lesson and getting it right. When was the last time you went on a vacation? They're telling me that you need to go on vacation.
April.
Did you really treat yourself or did you hold back?
I hold back.
Aha! Because I'm like, no, they're saying that, like they were saying to me in my head, like, she hasn't let it all, she hasn't really let it all out, so to speak. And I mean that in a good way, listeners, not like, don't go, like, oh, Dearjames said, let it all out, be crazy. No, that's not. What they're saying is you need to really have a great time with you. You need a really great vacation that's all about you. And don't hold back. Not a bunch of, and don't take this the wrong way, but not a bunch of gaggly girlfriends and all that stuff.
Right.
Not about, it's about you finding you. It's about you really loving you. It's about you really letting go and saying, oh my God, I'm fun. I'm fun to be around. I'm enough. Because then when you hit that mark, when you really just kind of get that, then the people that come into your life or the potential mates, if you will be at a same calibration, a same level, a same frequency. They won't be looking for someone to complete something only to be disappointed. They'll be like, I'm good. You're good. Oh, this is good. You see what I mean?
Yes, absolutely.
The journey and the frequency is much different When we're looking for people to complete us and they fail because they weren't intended to do that to begin with, they really come in and amplify your lack. That's what really happens.
So this person is not in my same frequency? That's what you're saying also?
I'm saying this person actually is on your same frequency. It's just a frequency both of you don't want to be on.
Huh.
You want to be higher. And in order to do that, you have to, because otherwise what's going to happen, you know, like any great relationship, everyone's on best behavior in the beginning, right?
Right.
And then the patina wears off, or the bloom falls off the rose, as I say. And then you're sitting there and you're like, oh, well, you're not doing this, and you're not, and you're not, and you're not, and you're not. And everything they're not doing is what you have a vulnerability about. Because they're amplifying or echoing your lack.
Right.
And all of a sudden, that horrible person. And well, yeah, because that's where you started. You started in a deficient place looking for someone to fill it.
Mm-hmm.
If you do that, you're just going to get more of it.
Right.
So, and therein lies, don't do that. So, I will call you, Jasmine, and we'll talk more.
Okay, thank you.
I will do that, and Cam will take your information for me. And thank you again for having the courage to call in. I adore you for that. And bravo on being aware and looking to do the right things in life and to better yourself. It's very admirable quality.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Jasmine. I'll talk to you after the show. You're listening to Dearjames Live here on the Contact Talk Radio Network. Today is Express Yourself. Tell it like it is, and then hear what Dearjames has to say. We'll be right back after this station break.
Available for private, individual, group, and corporate consultations, Dearjames will provide you with the intuitive insight, answers, and advice to your life questions. Schedule your consultation by going to www.dearjames.com and click on Consultation. The gift of giving is immeasurable. Give of your time, talent, resources, and money. Give not only because you can, but because by doing so, it is already coming back to you. As a people, we are only as strong as the least among us. Together, we harness the power of the collective whole and see through our deeds the power of miracles, both large and small. Find the charity that's right for you by visiting www.dearjames.com and click on Charitable Giving. One person or kind act really does make the difference.
When you ask a question, the universe hears you, and in a multitude of ways, they communicate to you the intuitive insight, answers, and advice you seek. Ask Dearjames a question and experience the magic of the universe. Visit Dearjames.com and click Ask.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Dearjames Live here on the Contact Talk Radio Network. Today, again, is Express Yourself. Tell it like it is, and then hear what Dearjames has to say. And my two callers so far, Jeanette and Jasmine, I like that, the J's, both calling similar, totally different issues, but similar in the fact that Mercury retrograde redos, re-look and re-examine, look at your intentions, look at your plans, look at when things are going wrong. And I love that the universe with Jeanette gave me the visual of the horses, these thoroughbred horses standing at the gates, pressing the gates, wanting to run the track, because we are all these thoroughbred beings. We have such potential, and it's limitless, and the energy and the abilities that we have. And sometimes what we do is we place ourselves into these confined boxes, i.e. the starting gate on a track, and then we jam, we ram the front gate because we want it to open. We want to go places. And what we're not doing is slowing down and taking the time to see what is it in our plan or our desire or in the way that we're going about it that can be altered, changed, broadened. We always think, no, I have my plan. It's the best plan. It's the only plan. And that's the interesting thing. When it's the only way, you've boxed yourself in and you've said to yourself, there's no way out. And as I said earlier with Wallace D. Wattles' book, the trilogy, that when you do great things in small ways, you move yourself from your current place to the place you want to go. And that is so powerful. It is so powerful, because if we sit back and say, well, I have to wait for A, B, C, D, E, F, G to come along and happen before I can have H, it probably won't happen, or it'll take you a lifetime. But if you start ticking away at, well, I can do this, and the only expenditure is your time and your energy and your faith that it will happen, your visualization that you keep seeing yourself living what you want for yourself. Visualize yourself living in this new place. Visualize, like in the case of Jeanette. In the case of Jasmine, visualize yourself being abundantly happy, and not in a narcissistic way, but a loving yourself. Like, see that, visualize it, and then visualize yourself with a perfect guy, the perfect relationship. And I always say, perfection is imperfection. When we can live and understand and love the imperfections in life and see their beauty, then we understand that it's all really perfectly balanced. It's exactly the way it's meant to be. Each thing is an opportunity. Each thing is a learning opportunity, a growth opportunity, because that's what we came here to do. That's really what's going on in our life. It's to experience growth and evolution. And all of these things are amazing opportunities to do that. I want to touch base, express yourself. I don't want to forget that the lines are open, and I am taking your calls live. As I say, the call is free. It's 877-230-3062. So the call is free. The intuitive insight, answers, and advice, priceless. I think the universe hits it every time, and they really give you the insight that you need to make the right decisions, the right answers. And that is priceless. It's just an amazing opportunity. So, keeping with that, I want to talk to you about something that I speak with often is, and it's not fun, but the cesspool. I call it the cesspool. When you're dealing with an issue and it's over and over and over again, and it's also living your old story, and you don't want to. I attended a private seminar about a year ago with Cardell Smith and Lynn Vermillion Smith, and they and Lynn has beautiful meditations that are on my website that are under the tools area, and they talked about when you live your old story versus your new story. And what's interesting is we get caught up in living our old story, which is our existing story, until we change it. And when you can fundamentally realize that you're doing something and it's not working, you're ramming the gates, and you can look and you say, then for me, if you know that you're doing that and you repetitively do that, then that's what I call you're living in a cesspool. Because it's not a pretty place. It's not going to change. You have to make it change. You're in control of that. And the more that you're in the cesspool, the worse it becomes, the more stinky it becomes. And you have to realize that that's what you're doing to yourself. You're swimming in this cesspool. But if you can then say, okay, well, here's what my current circumstance is, and here's where I want to go. This is what I really want to be. Then visualize and see that there's a bridge between your old story and your new story. And on the other side of that bridge, on your new story, is this beautiful, crystal clear, pure water. This beautiful, beautiful, clear lake. And when you then can see yourself swimming in this abundant, natural, clear, purified body of water, you'll realize that that's you, that you're swimming amongst this purity, this beauty, this cleanliness. And that's where you want to get to. You want to get to that place of purity, of bliss, of pure reflection. That's your highest self. That's your new story. And it takes time. It truly takes time. But the more you realize, I'm in my old story, I'm in the cesspool, get out of the cesspool, get out of it. The more you do that, the more you'll see yourself, okay, I'm on the bridge. You know what? I'm over in the pure water. Oh, God, I'm really having a great moment. I'm in the purity of the water. I'm in my pure place. The more you do that, and you start catching yourself and pivoting, stop and pivot, as I say, stop and pivot, then the less time you'll be on the bridge or in the cesspool, and you'll be in your new story, your purity lake. And that, you'll watch it, and all of a sudden, it's like training. It's like conditioning yourself for anything. See yourself on the bridge, moving towards the purity lake. See yourself in the purity lake. Keep going in that direction. Stop and pivot each time you're in that cesspool, each time you're doing something repetitive. Because even though Mercury retrograde isn't occurring per se, it is right now, but say it's not, it's still an opportunity for you to apply the rules, which say stop and pivot, slow down, gear down. Take the time to see how to move yourself from your old story, from the cesspool, to the new story, your purity lake, your purest reflection. That, in a nutshell, is the way to do small things in great ways. That's what you want to do. That is doing a small act. It didn't cost you anything other than your time and your energy and your consciousness. Those are free. They're all free elements for you. And when you can see that and you start saying, okay, stop and pivot, get to my new story, and keep practicing that, I promise you, your life will change dramatically. And the frequency by which you resonate, as I discussed with Jasmine, the frequency of the people coming into your life, the opportunities, the events, all of that will just blossom. And it'll just resonate at a much higher frequency. Next week, I'm going to be doing Express Yourself, Tell It Like It Is, and then hear what Dearjames has to say. However, 7.0, and that's pretty interesting, a lucky number 7. But I will be doing it from the beautiful Santa Fe, New Mexico. So a really beautiful, spiritual, holistic city and epicenter. And I look forward to coming to you live from Santa Fe, New Mexico next week. Again, remember that you can submit your questions on dearjames.com. Click on the word ask, and you can also sign up for private consultations. You can go to dearjames.com to and click on private consultations, and or you can go through the boutique. And or submit your questions on my Facebook page, facebook.com/Dearjames LLC. And either way, we will discuss your questions in the written format on the advice column, or here live on the Contact Talk Radio on Dear James Live. It is always a pleasure to come to you and speak with you. And again, the show is about you. It's your questions. It's what's going on in your lives. And it's the beauty of the universe responding back to you. And last but not least, as I always say, no matter where you are or whom you're with or what you're doing, wrap yourself in goodness. Thank you all so much for listening today, for calling in, and I will see you and talk to you next week from beautiful Santa Fe, New Mexico.
You've been listening to Dear James Live on the radio with your host, Dear James. Gain intuitive insight, answers, and advice to your life questions and so much more by tuning in next week and visiting DearJames.com.